because we're sneaking. Me and Mitra are sneaking in Atlanta.
I assume this isn't a real countdown, or is
I
it?
hope not.
I think it is.
Oh,
It says recording.
Go
Guys.
for it. Yep.
Oh no, are we gonna work now?
The show must go on.
Oh, okay. Let's find out.
Another day in beautiful LA.
Can somebody send me the script?
for real, right?
A little late for that now, D. You're beginning where you fit in from here.
Y'all are opinionated, you know?
Ooh.
That's funny.
What are we covering, right?
Okay, Dimitri, if you don't know what to say, just don't talk. The
Just don't say nothing.
ladies will take all that space.
You're gonna say, Dimitri, we're gonna turn it to you. I'm gonna just sit here and stare at the camera.
The ladies will take all that space. More time for us? Fantastic.
All they need is to hear his raspy voice. That's all. They don't need to hear nothing else.
Man, the
Bass.
love I received because God gave me a voice is incredible.
Bass.
My son be like, Daddy, can I get some pancakes? I'll be like, son, relax.
Oh, look at his pancakes.
It's a little deep voice.
Logan gets whatever he wants.
Like, can we get up now? It's good morning.
See?
Crazy.
You spank your son.
Do I spank him? No, I ain't gonna spank him. He get whoopings.
Now, come on, Dimitri.
Wait. You said no, and then you said yes. Do you use corporal punishment on your child?
Spanking is so whitewashed.
He don't get spankings. He said he get ass whoopings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. So you do use corporal punishment?
Ain't no damn corporal punishment. Leave Dimitri alone.
He putting you on blast right now, Dimitri.
The thing about it is, I'll be honest. My son, in 12 seconds, I'll summarize it. My son probably had 2 whoopings in his entire life.
Yep.
They got the job done. He's a very respectable young kid.
Ooh, that's too many.
Need to know you serious.
Yep. You got to know your daddy serious.
Welcome to Truth Talks. It's been a crazy week. We're on our new platform on the Black Start Network and growing like crazy thanks to all the OG truth tellers hanging with us. We appreciate it. We're coming on after Roland Martin Unfiltered, and we're glad to welcome the whole Bring the Funk fan club to our Truth Talks family. I need all of you to hop in the chat tonight with the hashtag Truth Tellers and help us answer a really tough question. Be honest. Do black men hate black women? Truth Talk starts now.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
Welcome, Truth Tellers. Welcome to our faithful audience. Thank you for hanging with us. Welcome to our new audience to come see us argue like friends in a bar. With me, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
What's going on, Torre? You know, excited to cover these topics tonight, and just hoping that y'all don't say no bullshit that's too much to the left to where I got to set y'all on the right. Right? Okay.
Or that could happen to you. Like, oh,
no, I'm a little Mayweather. I'm a little Mayweather over here.
Nick, so glad to have you.
What's up, guys? I thought you said Dimitri, but your girl Sarah is here. I think I have some of the most conservative thoughts. Where are my givers at? Please let me know in the chat, because y'all, we got to keep it real. Speak our truth, because this is Truth Talks. Let's go.
And I found this guy last night hanging outside of 7-Eleven, Dimitri Wiley.
It is a pleasure. Thank you for scooping me up and giving me employment. I'm better now.
It's all work. See, employment does everything. I'm here now. I'm Torre. Let's get into some trending topics, y'all. So Suge Knight has been doing a lot of interviews from prison. I didn't know that you could get approved for so many interviews from inside the Bing, but here we are. Suge said in one interview, Puffy and I are not friends, but Puffy should definitely walk free. Wow, I never thought that I'd hear Suge from the jailhouse talking about Puffy should beat the case. He said Diddy is being unfairly singled out, and it was other executives that were involved in Puffy's life. For Puffy to be the only guy to get on the stand is a sad day for hip hop. I'm trying to think of who the other executives he's talking about. I have one in mind, but Dr. B, what is Suge talking about here? Is he trying to say maybe y'all should be looking at other executives like above Puffy? Is he going to be, can we get him to call in one day?
yeah, I might be able to see if we can get him to call in. Of course, we may have to do the show on a time that is in alignment with his prison available time, but I could definitely check in on that. But I think what he's saying is that we are obviously looking at P. Diddy, who's done, obviously allegedly has committed some really big crimes. But I believe he's saying that it goes deeper and that there's executives and big dogs that are bigger than just the optics of what we see, which is Diddy. And he's saying, yo, look, not so much. I don't agree with this, but he's saying he's Diddy is he is innocent, but he's also saying that, listen, y'all just picking on one dude. There's a plethora of people who were involved with this case, not just one dude. There was, listen, and he's also saying that this is bigger and deeper than freak offs and domestic violence. This has to do with even the FBI. I believe Suge is saying this has to do with the internal folks who actually have.
I don't know why Jay-Z's picture is there.
I don't know why, right? Well, okay. I digress. But what I'm trying to say is Suge is pretty much saying that, listen, we're making P. Diddy the poster guy for the much deeper issue that involves a lot of more people. And he may be onto something about that.
So, okay, look, we know that per the New York Times reporting, and like 40 or 50 women, speaking of, like, Russell Simmons raped half of New York. We know of some other crazy situations. Dimitri, I don't know somebody else who's an executive who is helping Puffy do what he did, what we're talking about in this case. Like, there's people beneath him who are working for him who do what he say, but like, I don't know, Clive Davis is the guy above him. Like, I don't know what Suge is talking about.
It's funny to me. Well, it's ironic because Suge Knight, a man convicted of so much violence, is now arguing for like fairness in hip hop, justice in hip hop. And the thing about it is, we got to look back at who we know Suge to be. You know what I'm saying? This ain't because he believes in justice. This is simply because he want company behind bars. He feel like, if this motherfucker gonna burn, I want everybody to feel the smoke. You know what I'm saying? He's the wrong source, in my opinion.
Sarah.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that. I think this is typical cultural Black experience where there's a fall guy. I don't think this is any new from how what's his name took the shot Meg Thee Stallion. He was the fall guy.
Whoa. Tory Lanez was the fall guy?
What I'm saying is, how often do we know inside of the Black community where there is one person that takes it all for everybody, and then when that person gets out of jail, they're taken care of, right? This goes back to the relationships, and this is one of the reasons why I don't feel like Diddy will ever go broke, because he has an opportunity right now to incorporate some of these people that are almost most certainly guilty. Yes, I know we've only heard it's a one-on-one thing as far as the freak-offs go, but these parties were huge. They were massive.
Whoa. How do you know that? We don't know that. Nobody has seriously testified to that. Nobody has reported that. No serious person has said there were these eyes wide shut, wild Hollywood parties. Nobody has said that.
Yes, so this is what I'm saying. Nobody's ever going to say that. When you go to a lot of these parties, I've been to the parties where they put your phone in a little Ziploc bag that you can't even get out without a special tool. You can't take pictures. You can't make phone calls. You have no idea. A lot of parties you go to, you sign NDAs before you even get into the house. So there are these things that are happening. I'm trying to tell y'all this is real stuff, and this man is so well connected that I do not believe that he is the only one that did it. It's kind of like the whole Epstein case, how he committed suicide in jail. Did he? Or was he killed because he knew too much? That's my opinion. I don't know. Call me a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, you have it your way. You're a conspiracy theorist. No, a lot of people agree with you on Epstein. I just don't know. It seems to like almost release some of the pressure from Puff to go, well, who are the other people who helped him? And we know others who helped him beneath, because that's being testified to. But like, people who with more power than him, where are they?
Torre, you're focusing more on this whole party violence and this whole sexual abuse. What I hear Suge saying is, we focusing on the very fucking mustard seed of the bigger problem. And to your point, Torre, a lot of people are looking at it like P. Diddy is the icing on the cake, the big dog, and he's the one to get. Suge is saying, check this out. I've been the big dog. I've been it, meaning Suge's been the big dog. He knows, to your point, there's people underneath him, but there's big dogs above him who
Period.
never get optics on them, whose names are never told, who never make it to court, who never have to be convicted.
Yep.
And what he's saying is this is bigger than just saying this one black mogul powerful man is just the god of all gods and is creating all of this splash. He's like, nah, there's a lot more to this. And that they need to dig in the more to this. And to Sarah, listen, I don't be agreeing with none of you people that much. But this moment, Sarah has a point. You have people who take charges for people all the time, especially when it comes to the inner city or on the streets. Let me say, just in the street community that take a riff. One, they don't want to be known as a snitch. Two, she's right. Hey, it's called a bid.
Yes, that happens. But we can't say Tory Lanez is that.
We're not talking about Tory Lanez. Let's stay on topic. We're talking about P. Diddy. Not Tory Lanez. I agree with you. We're talking about P. Diddy. We're saying when people take a bid, it's called a bid in the hood. When you take a bid for somebody and you come out, you are due diligence for a pay, not just monetarily, but loyalty and protection from the folks in the streets. So what she's saying is it could possibly be that yes, he's on trial. And of course, allegedly he committed all these crimes. Okay, we see domestic violence is definitely one we've visually seen on camera. But he could be in there not telling on the higher ups, whoever these people are, so that he's the one like, look, dude, if I tell the higher ups a couple things, it's going to open up a whole nother can of worms that is even bigger than the stuff that he's being allegedly, accused of doing. So she has a point there.
Way bigger.
So let me shift you guys to something else going on right now in LA, where Dr. Brian is from. Obama, the musical. There's a new musical about my favorite president and my favorite first lady, and people are talking about it. Let's see a little clip.
Baby,
more than anything.
Better watch out, fellas. Obama's back, and I got something to prove. You may have knocked me down, but you didn't knock me out. Just like Stella, I got to prove that motherfucking Obama.
Okay, wow. This is supposed to be satirical. It's making fun of Obama's White House years. There is one scene where the Obamas are singing about White House love, and for some reason, Joe Biden comes into the room and tries to join the scene. I don't know why anybody is thinking about anything like that, but here we are. Dimitri, does this feel, I know you weren't alive for the Obama administration, but does this feel disrespectful to the former president?
That's okay, Dimitri, because Teray was technically dead. He's an ancestor.
Thank you.
He's an ancestor.
He's a ghost still walking. I appreciate that, though. It's funny because when you see satire about Black icons, in my opinion, I don't think we've celebrated them long enough before we turn it into satire, before it becomes comedy. I think, don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? Obama, we gave his flowers, but we're not done giving them. This is too quick to be Saturday Night Live. This is the first Black president, something that changed history books. It's right now. This is giving Saturday Night Live. This is nothing less than Saturday Night Live, and I don't like it. The beat slap.
Really?
You're on the beat slap.
You don't like it?
What do you not like about it, Dimitri? What do you not like? Is it disrespectful?
I think it comes off as disrespectful. Disrespectful in terms of what Obama means to me, what Obama means to the Black culture. I think the idea of it is entirely, it's unprecedented. Like I wouldn't expect Obama to attend this. Like I think it's too left for me, too left field.
Dr. Brian, what do you think?
I love it. I think it's the culture. I think that Black people have this thing that no other race could do, where we can take our president, our people, and add a curse word to it. And
White man wrote that.
A what?
White man wrote that.
Oh, well, then you're changing up the narrative. Torrey said, you're leaving out information, my brother. You're leaving out information now. You see how he did me? See, this is the shit you do.
Look. I gotta be like, this is great. White man wrote it. Oh, no, this sucks.
Oh, this is terrible.
Let me say because it does make a difference who authors things. Because messages are in the hands of the writer, which creates the narrative. And so for me, if it was a Black song about Obama by us black folks, then I can say that's ours. Yes, we can say it's motherfucker Obama. We partying up here. But when you have a white person who comes to the barbecue and their ones bringing the marinated chicken and they're the ones that setting the tone for that barbecue, then to me, it doesn't become a culture thing. It becomes us feeding into, again, a white person's narrative of how we're going to celebrate what we do. So now you see, now that you done gave me the right information, I have to switch up how I feel about it.
But do you guys see how thin of a line that is? Like that's a really hard line to like navigate, because if we're doing it ourselves, we almost making it seem like it's acceptable to be done. Like I get our culture. We poke fun at everything. That's what we do. That's how black people operate. But this here, I remember I was a kid when Obama got 2008. I was probably like 12 years old or something like that.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
And the thing about it, I was crying when Obama.
Your daddy was 12.
I had to be like 12 or something. But yeah, no.
Demetri, you said you were crying because I want to hear.
Yes, I was in tears. Like I turned my little game off. I'm sitting here watching the inauguration with my parents, and this was a thing for me. Wow. Like I seen recently. And it was on like a thing the NBA was doing about the U.S. Olympics. Anthony Edwards was having a conversation with Obama. Yeah. And I was disrespected at how you not putting respect on who you talking to.
Hold on, but what you said before, you reminded me of election night. And it wasn't certain going into the night who was going to win.
Yeah.
And when it finally, and a lot of us were talking about the Tom Bradley effect, maybe they'll get in there, not because he's leading in the polls, but we weren't. Right. And when it was finally called, I mean, like I had chills. I don't think I cried because I think that is socialized out of me, but like I definitely had like a deep emotion of like, oh my God, like this massive moment in America has happened. I had a little baby then, and I remember looking at him and being like, wow, like you're going to know a world with a black president. Like that is so crazy to me. Yeah. Sarah, I mean, like, were you... Well, I want to know if you think the play is disrespectful, and then your sort of emotion around Obama-ness, like when that was first really blowing up, like me and Dee talked about.
Yeah, so no, I don't feel like it was disrespectful. I feel like it was a satirical play based on something that didn't happen in real life. That's why it's a satire, right? Because it's not a true story. But I almost feel like it's more mocking Joe Biden than anything, because it's like through the hazy eyes of Joe Biden. And so for me, that's what kind of makes it like, okay, we did have a black president. Okay, there is catchy music. I'm probably going to be singing this song now for the next 3 days because it's so catchy. But I really just feel like one of the things that I do love is that, you know, while Obama was in office, he was one of very few, if not the only president. And mind you, I'm Canadian. I didn't grow up learning about all your presidents, but I did hear a lot about the scandals, and we didn't have one.
What?
So I love
during Obama, there were no scandals.
Yes. And I love that for us. But there were scandals with a lot of other presidents, right? And so for me, I feel like we just have an opportunity to laugh about something that was great. This is what we do as Black people. I love that they're telling the story in a funny way, and it just is what it is. I don't feel like it's disrespectful. However, when it comes to the president, there's nothing more beautiful than being able to see a piece of yourself at the highest, most highly esteemed position in America. I think that creates opportunity, it creates belief, and it really shatters a lot of the mindsets that we used to have. Like, we could never have a Black president. Well, we did it.
You know, I obviously we don't want to judge a piece of art that we haven't seen, although, you know, because I want to evaluate the tone of how something's done, although I don't imagine how Joe Biden walking in mistakenly on a moment of like real love between this deep loving couple that has been together for decades, and their love is sort of like iconic. I don't know how that would work. Like, how am I supposed to not find that disrespectful? Like,
we gotta see it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, but I mean, I don't know how you can play it that it's not going to make me cringe. Should be like,
if this was a Trump musical, he'd be standing on a horse riding in with some powerful song playing in the background. It would not be this interpretation.
There's a movie out right now. There's a movie out right now about Trump.
Yeah. And you know what, Sarah, with all due respect, This is a black news with a black voice. We don't give a damn about that. We're not going to promote that.
Amen. Amen. Moving into politicking, our next segment. When you go to school, you should learn facts. But because of the maniac who Sarah's just talking about, in some schools, they won't be learning facts. Starting next school year in Oklahoma, in high school, students will be studying the 2020 presidential election and learning that maybe it was stolen from Trump. Make your own decision. Research it yourself. Figure it out for yourself. Fact check, it was 100% not stolen. However, the big lie about the 2020 election persists. And you wonder, like, Cheyenne, should black people be part of like reverse unoing this trend of like fake news and fake information? And could you have like black institutions like a church say, we're going to start to help educate the community?
Let me go further. I love what you said. Not just a church. We have Black Lives Matter. That's a civil rights black organization. We have NAACP. That's a civil rights black organization. We have many other organizations that aren't as big as those two, but are extremely impactful. Why are they not mobilizing? And I'm a president of NAACP, and I'm calling us out. Why are we not mobilizing with other, not just civil rights, but black organizations that provide resources? We got financial literary organization for black folks. We got educational. We have all kinds of organizations that give away scholarships for education. We got HBCU organizations. We have the Divine Nine. Do I have to keep going? We have so many black organizations. Why are we not organizing as a collective and saying, okay, in every church, let's teach it. NAACP, in every one of your branches offices, let's set up shop. Back in the day when we were not able to go to school and we were at the hands of the master, what do you think that we taught our kids at? What do you think the education was exchanged from? I'm not saying we go back to slavery days. What I'm saying is we have to mobilize and figure out, okay, Torrey, listen, where do we do this at? How do we do it? So many organizations have buildings that are donated to them. Churches have churches and they have different buildings donated to them by the city because they are a tax exempt organization that they don't pay for. So if you're not paying for it, then why are we not using it so that we can push out education to our black students and our black kids, even adults?
Dimitri, there's all these ways that an organization, institution can serve the community. A church will do its education, right? A library will do its thing. But like, I think about like the Black Panthers, and they're doing the activist work and protecting against the police, but also they are serving breakfast to children every single morning. That was a requirement for every Black Panther chapter. And so when they're doing that basic service for what the people need, that is so empowering. And I think about whatever institution it is, to come in and say the basic need that we need is education, Black history education for the children. So how can we give them that? Because we're also giving them spiritual education or library or whatever, but they need this. So like, should we not be thinking about how else we can get this education to students if the schools aren't going to do it?
No, absolutely. I think it's about coming up with programs. It's about starting things of our own, and it's about learning ourselves, because a lot of time education is a passed down thing. Before you ever touch a textbook, your parents tell you what's going on. If they don't know, they can't teach you. So first it's about educating yourselves as well. I think that's the biggest. I'm learning so my son can learn right behind me. It's passed down knowledge. But the thing about this isn't just rewriting history. This is erasing history before it ever touches a textbook. So they're not going to know anything that actually occurred. And then they have to live in conspiracy. So yeah, absolutely. It's about doing the work ourselves. We got to start doing it ourselves.
Okay, let's move into the main topic, because this is going to be very emotional, very real. I might cry in this, I might break through the socialization, but the big question tonight, do Black men hate Black women? And I think it's an important question. It's a powerful question. I'm proud to have two smart women and a smart man to work through this, because this is a really important question. I want to handle it delicately because this really matters. But in 1960, 61% of Black Americans were married. In 2021, only 31%. And that shows a serious love imbalance. One social media creator thinks he understands the why. Jody, roll that clip.
Men don't like women for real. They don't. They like women sexually, but they don't like women. They're not attracted to what a woman is outside of her sexual organs. So then when we get into why a lot of men womanize, or why it's just they're minimizing a woman based off of who she slept with or who she potentially can sleep for, because it's like you haven't gained the appreciation of the wholeness of a woman yet, and what that wholeness of a woman can bring to your life.
You know, Dimitri, about a month ago, I heard this woman on TikTok say, men don't like women, they're attracted to them, and there's a difference. And once she decoupled that for me, I was like, oh my God, it's true. Think beyond the women you love who are in your life already. Think beyond the women you make money with or you're dating or whatever. Now you're like, do you like women? Like, if they don't have something specific to offer for you as far as the transactional nature of men, quite often, like, I think a lot of us don't like women. We don't care for women's culture. We think we look and I think we're socialized to do this, and that women often don't like men because men are shitty to them, but we don't like them because we are ultimately misogynist and not learning to value womanness. What do you think, Dimitri?
You know, in all actuality, I love women. And I think the thing about it is, when I say that, oftentimes people hear it in some misogynistic state. Like, no, I just love the quality of a woman. I learned a ton from women, and I love the way they carry themselves.
What do you think about most men?
When I say most men, what I mean is the idea that I don't think black men don't like black women. That's not exactly how I look at it. I just don't think black men were ever taught how to love women or admire women, anything out of a survival state or their ego. Like, I don't think growing up there was somebody who said, this is how you treat a woman. This is how you treat a black woman at that. Like, even when you look at their relationship with their mother and how that is also a sticky situation. She's learning, and there's a resentment building in the same way. I say it all the time. The same way a man respects his mother, he'll respect women in the world. That's my opinion.
Cheyenne, so do you feel from your side, all the things that are, do you feel like black men hate black women? Do you think that we like women? Like, where are you?
I did a whole clip last season on this, and it went viral and crazy. A man is what his mama makes him. And a man who's raised by a single mama doesn't learn how to be a black man who dates a woman. He oftentimes learns how to be his mother's man, which means at a very young age, he takes on a lot of responsibilities that create a resentment in him toward his mother. His mother, who happens to be black and women, so we're talking about black men, ends up becoming the optics of who he sees that black woman or girlfriend or wife to be as an adult man. Let me go a little further. When he doesn't have a father in the home, of course, we know that's daddy issues, and that also creates mama issues, parental issues. However, that young man deems his father a nothing ass NIGGA, a loser, all those things that he deems his father for not being there. That's exactly how that black man sees himself intrinsically. So when you have a man who doesn't love himself because he feels devalued because father wasn't there in the home, and he sees himself as a nothing ass man, even though he's not, and he can be a great father and a great husband, that is going to have a direct impact on his dislike for himself. Anyone who doesn't like themselves is going to have an issue with loving or liking their partner. Let me go one step further. There are a big group of black men, not every, that do not only dislike, but they really hate black women. And they don't know it as subconsciously because they have the gun pointed, not literally, I'm using it as a metaphor, pointed at every black woman that looks like the mama who couldn't keep their father around, keep their father around, so they didn't have a daddy, who either didn't communicate well enough in his perspective as a young boy with his father enough so daddy can be around. And usually it's daddy didn't want you, so guess what? Daddy didn't want me. And that young boy grows up to really have a hate towards his mom, who he never learns to unpack with. So he unpacks with every single black woman he comes in contact with. And it's very dangerous, and it's very, very sad.
Sarah, do you feel like the black men you're coming into contact, not just the dating, but like all the men socially, whatever, do you feel like black men dislike black women, hate black women?
Not at all. I don't feel that way at all. But I would agree with a little bit of what everyone's saying, that most times black men don't know how to love black women. And I say that because I don't think black women know how to be loved. If you look at this day and age of what's happening outside, there is no real standard. It's literally like, oh, you sent me to get my nails done. You took me to dinner. I can sleep with you this night. So now I'm offering you the most valuable thing that I have to offer for a dinner. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. And if there's no standard and there's no accountability, then you're not learning or setting in place. Like, you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to love you. And if you yourself have never felt love because maybe your father wasn't in the household, or, you know, you're used to seeing your parents, they never had affection. If you did have both parents, you know, for me personally, I've never seen my parents fight. And so I, on my own, had to learn repair because that was something I never saw.
I'm sorry, you've never seen your parents fight?
Not one time. Not one single time. And I'll have you know, both of my parents.
Is that because they have great conflict resolution or because they just don't fight?
Oh, they have great conflict resolution, and they never fought in front of us kids. That was like their
because
rule.
They make a point not to argue in front of you.
Absolutely.
They do argue, but they just keep it private from you. That's amazing.
Somewhere else. Now, that being said, that almost ruined me a little bit, because inside of that, I thought that if I fight, or if I'm angry, or if I'm upset, I'm doing something wrong. Oh, this isn't what love is supposed to look like. And so there are flip sides to learning everything. But I really feel like we as women get to set the standard and start teaching these men how to love us.
I appreciate what you sisters have said, and obviously everything you've said is correct. But I want to pull you into the question a little bit more. Because I feel it from the locker room, the hangout, the chit chat, whatever, that we don't really like women. We want them. We want to be seen with a hot woman. We want to, spend the night with you. But do we like you? Like, we like men. I think we want to hang out with men. We want to impress other men with our money, with our skill on the basketball court or whatever, with the woman we get. But like, I feel like talking to other men, don't talk about yourself, because that's but that they don't, Dr. Bright, you don't see men disliking women?
Oh, I just said a hard yes. I don't only see a group, not all, but a group of men disliking women and seeing them as an enemy. I also see them seeing them as competition. So what that means, listen, call it what you want to, but the Black community has a deep-rooted mommy and daddy issue, period. That's not something that we're hiding from, or not something that we're gonna act like doesn't exist. That in itself creates an identity crisis. That in itself creates something called self-hate. Mm-hmm. And when a person who doesn't identify with who they are, or they don't like parts of them because parts of them were missing in a childhood that could have reared or loved or validated things about them, then they grow up to learn how to compete for validation and not commune in a relationship. And what happens is, that's not just Black men. I know we're on Black men, but Sarah made a good point about Black women. Right? Well, when you're growing up as a single mama, or you're growing up as a little girl with no father, then guess what? You got two people in a relationship that think they're trauma bonding, but they're not even fucking bonding. They're competing. No one's being heard. And the only thing they're doing good is probably sex, if even that.
Let me say one thing, though, Dimitri.
Mm-hmm.
Patriarchy values masculinity. You get value in patriarchy by being a strong man who acquires lots of things.
Absolutely.
So that means we look down on femininity. And I think that is sort of at the crux of a lot of it. We want to acquire femininity. Like, I want to have a woman so other men see, oh, he's got that beautiful, womanly woman. So I look up to him because he's got the car, the job, the woman, the whatever. But like, do we respect femininity? Like, think about how often men make digs at how long it might take a woman to get ready for the night. We want her to look amazing. We want the earrings and the makeup and the hair, but then we're going to make a little dig about like, oh my God, it took you an hour to get ready. Think about, I saw this brother on TikTok talking about, you want to talk about mansplaining? Let's talk about how long it takes a woman to explain something. And I'm like, these are ways of just digging at femininity, and like, we just don't like women.
The thing about it is, I don't think the problem is masculinity or femininity. I think the problem actually lies in the one thing men are taught that masculinity should embrace, which is ego. And I think a lot of times we lack the appreciation of a woman because oftentimes her value can insult our ego. to be
Her
overeducated.
value insults our ego.
Absolutely. To see a woman who's highly educated, to see a woman make more money than you do, to see a woman who's hyper independent, we automatically label it as too much. We minimize their successes. We fear, like, the thing about it is, just like men are afraid to approach women these days, men are even more afraid to say that's a high value woman. She's valuable. We can't even give flowers to women, and it breeds an appreciation, but it's more of, I think men are intimidated.
100%. And the better word is called jealous. Let's call it what it is. You just described jealousy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, you know, I will also say that as far as women go, I think that it is a masculine and feminine thing. I think that women, especially Black women, have become much more masculine, and for good reason. We know there's a lot of single moms. We're the most single mom race in the nation. And I think that men
are getting a little cringy talking about a lot of Black women become masculine.
But it's
sure you want to go there?
Let me give this disclaimer, because masculinity is not gender-based, it's energy-based. We all have both.
Okay.
Masculine man still has 10 to 20% femininity. The most feminine woman still has 10 to 20% masculinity. A really great book, if you guys want to do your research, is The Way of the Superior Man by Data. He really dives into how masculinity and femininity work. And because now a lot of these super successful single mothers are out here, a lot of times I can't teach a man how to be a man. I'm a woman. A woman cannot teach certain things because I haven't had that experience. Just like I can't teach a white person how to be Black. It's an experience thing. You have to go through it in order to understand it. And so inside of that, I feel like men are becoming much more feminine. Well, what lacks inside of higher levels of femininity? To be honest, it's leadership. How are we supposed to follow a lead that a man doesn't have? And so I do think that a lot of men are feeling emasculated. I do feel like a lot of men are feeling like, oh, she thinks she's too tough now. She thinks she could do better than us. Look at her. She thinks all we want is money. Because the truth is that man who was raised by a woman, kind of acting like a woman, wants the leadership that he hasn't qualified for yet.
I want to roll a video that Jody picked for us that sort of shifts the conversation a little bit, because we agree, I think, that Black men in this country are under attack, but Black women are not the problem. Roll the clip.
But I'm like, he always takes the woman's side. And listen, if he's a man and he says he's a trans man, she's going to take his side even more because as a woman, you take that. And I'm just like, Mark, we are Black men are being attacked, and you are one of the biggest voices out here. And what I'm saying is that if you don't give a voice a reason,
the Black man under attack trope in these conversations specifically is fascinating to me, in part because Black men have a tendency to do something that I see white women do all the time, which is they get so hung up on their oppression that they forget their privilege. Because the reality is, as Black men, yes, we are under attack, and our predator is not Black women. The predator is white folks as a whole, white society. And so when we are under attack, it is by white society. But within Blackness, Black women are also under that same attack and then have to experience the intra-racial oppression that Black men put on them. You know, Black women are experiencing racism just as we are, and then experiencing sexism on top of that, which is something that we as Black men are perpetuating onto them, as well as white society as a whole.
Dimitri, I love that comment. I love that brother's work on TikTok. You know, part of the thing we haven't talked about in this conversation is the times that men can be violent toward women. And I'm not just talking about the physical violence, which is obviously horrible, but the sort of emotional violence that we can sometimes visit on women, which I think comes from misogyny. I think comes from, in some men, an anger toward mom that can't be expressed toward mom because she is a queen and a saint. So then you're taking it out on your girl or the girl you're dating right now. There's other ways that we are expressing hatred and disdain for women. I think sometimes we experience racism in the world and can't put it anywhere and put it on our woman. And I think there's a lot of ways that we are putting our pain and stress from the world on our women, Dimitri. And I think that's part of what's relating to what I'm talking about with us hating them.
No, it's a fact. It's not even close to not being true. It's a solidified fact. The idea that a lot of times what we harbor inside, what we hate about ourselves, we gotta make somebody feel worse than we do, and that's usually the person you lay next to every night. But what I've learned with my friends and XYZ, I don't have any friends who put their hands on a woman at all.
Of course.
But what I've seen in just in general from being black and in the hood, oftentimes the men who grow up to hit their woman, they dad hit their mama, and it continued, and it continued, and it continued until this became just a degrading act that just men hold against women. And to be quite honest with you, like I'll give you an example. I had a friend, an old friend of mine. He would just lash out. He would drink, he would hit, and this is every single thing his father did to his mother that he hated about his dad. And that's what the ironic part about it was to me. You hated this man for these exact things, but you can't see it in yourself. And I think that's the problem what's going on. Men, I can't even say they want to be better. I just think women have it a lot harder than we do, and men don't see that.
Good,
and I want to say, listen, an emotional man tied to high testosterone equals a dangerous, violent man. When a man grows up with only a woman in the household, he learns how to process his emotions like a woman. There's no man there to teach him how a man processes his emotions. So when we're talking about men being violent in relationships, well, men, y'all are full of testosterone. Okay? That's a natural hormone for y'all. You get into a relationship with a woman and things get hot and spicy and emotions are flying, and you have two people who are processing their emotions like women, meaning at a high peaked emotional level. One is a woman who learned how to process them like a woman. One's a man who doesn't even realize I'm being emotional like a woman tied to my testosterone that is now inflaming me to be enraged. That man doesn't know how to not regulate. At that point, regulation doesn't become a problem. Hold on, Torre. Regulation is not a problem. It's his baseline for processing and understanding his emotions come from a feminine place. And that poor baby, that man doesn't even realize it because he's been doing this all his life.
Let me ask you this. Is the lack of emotional intelligence in black men part of why, or explain why, we hate black women?
Yes, Torre, you cannot have, I'll let you 1 second. You cannot even hold a black man accountable for emotional intelligence if he doesn't even understand that he is processing his emotions like a woman. And when I say woman, I'm not talking about calling him names or feminine or soft. I'm saying he literally learned that when I get upset, it looks like this. When I get upset, it looks like this, because his mother was a woman who was emotional and expressed herself in this way. He never got to see a man say, this is how you do it, son. You can identify your emotions. This is how you feel. This is how you problem solve as a man. This is why the men who are in prison, they have literally done studies showing their emotional ability of having cortisol levels at a higher level than the men who make different and better decisions. Emotions and testosterone create rage, and in a man, it looks different than it does on a woman.
Dimitri, do you think that black men are jealous of sisters in some way?
I absolutely do. Wow. I feel like a lot of black men, not just a couple. I've seen friends of mine be jealous of black women just for being black women. I think the thing about it is it's like a fragile masculinity that they have. And I'm telling you, a passionate, powerful woman is going to act and break that masculinity of yours. And men hate that. Men absolutely hate that. It's the fact that you being so solidified in who you are as a person shakes me to my core, because I'm not. I don't feel as strong as you think I do. Come on. I know I'm not, and you're breeding that in me and bringing that out of me. It's like there's only room for one of us mentality. And I feel like most men are living in that space. They're like Dr. Brown, to her point, men learn to lash out, and the only way we can assert dominance or masculinity is through physical acts or degrading you and calling you out your name. A lot of times women hold the value in these relationships, and I'm not just speaking in relationships, households in general. What happens is, as a man, in order to make myself feel in order to make myself feel superior, I have to make her feel inferior.
Yes.
Exactly what's going on.
Yes, 100%.
Dimitri got the chat going. The chat is on fire right now on you, Dimitri. They are like lighting us up, Torre.
Yeah, no, 100%. The masculinity is about superiority. You got to feel superior to someone, other men, and especially women. Sarah.
I feel like, and it really goes back to why are men jealous, right? Because I feel like a lot of men say they want an ambitious woman. They want a woman that's about something. Yeah, well, they want her until it makes them look bad. Because this is a mirror of all the places that you may not be as ambitious or you may not be as successful. And then you feel like your life is more dangerous because you're a man and we are women or whatever that may look like. And so really and truly, it comes down to men are acting more like women, especially Black women or Black men. Why? Because they're raised by Black women by themselves. They're not seeing the example of what it looks like to be a man. They're not seeing the example of what true masculinity looks like, what true leadership looks like. Who are even the OGs? Now the OGs are going to prison. They're on trail for beating girls' ass down the hallway. So now it's like, who do you even look up to in this day and age? Back in the day, you had the Nipsey Hussles. You had the Ice Cube. Yeah, you had so many of the different people that now it's like, they're who do these young cats even have to look up to?
Well, interesting point. Actor Damson Idris called out Black men recently. He's in a big new film with Brad Pitt. He said, I see so much unprovoked hatred toward Black women today from grown Black men. He said the compulsion to humble these women perhaps makes you feel like more of a man. That's a superiority thing we were talking about a second ago, D. I promise you, you aren't men to us. A new year is approaching. Grow up. This reminds me.
Come on, Dad. Hold on. Come on, Desmond. What is he? This man is fine.
That reminds me of a moment that broke the internet a few years ago. Jody, roll that.
Yeah. No,
hold on, D. Hold on, D. I want to get to Daniel.
Shout out to those in the chat. It is going on fire right now, y'all. Let us know. Like, do you guys feel like Black men hate Black women? Is this real, or are we all a little bit of delusional?
Yeah. And have you watched the sex scene with this man in it with Chloe Bailey? I'm sorry.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see the Daniel clip, Jody. The Daniel Caesar clip.
That libido was up there, baby. Woo, I'm back.
Oh my, okay.
Yo, I know. Make sure there is. I love you guys. Yo, you guys are listening, and I love you guys so much. But we're like talking about something serious. So I'm like, I don't want to talk about shows or like being, like artist stuff. Where's my? Why? I don't know which Black people are in here, but I want you guys to talk up right now. Why do we?
I saw it here. I heard something drunk.
Why are we being so mean to Jules? Why are we being so mean to white people right now? That's a serious question. Why is it that we're allowed to be disrespectful and rude to everybody else, and when anybody returns any type of energy to us, that's not equality? I don't want to be treated like I can't take a joke. I just went through the fucking Chappelle shit, and I had to, like, in the moment acknowledge that I was being fucking sensitive. You know what I'm saying? And I need to be able to take a joke just like everybody else.
Dimitri, I need a little context here because apparently white people are the real victims and Black people can't take a joke. That's the problem. I don't need any Black person telling me don't be mean to white people. Shut your mouth.
But he's also from Canada. I told you they're
hip. I don't know. Dimitri, can you give me a little more context on what is going on here?
I think the idea of it is you have a very, how do I put it without offending him in general? You have a very misinformed man, in my opinion. You have a very placed, he's placed in the middle. When I look at Daniel Caesar, I see somebody who doesn't quite understand the perspective either me or you may have grown up with, either Black man or Black women may have grown up with, but I see somebody very misinformed. And I feel like he should be the last person having this conversation, especially after the stint he's talking about. But I don't think he can speak for the masses. I just don't see that.
I agree.
So wait, there's an idea that is popping up because, as we're saying, a lot of sisters are saying we feel the brothers don't like us or hate us or are just not serving us properly, not giving us that princess treatment we deserve. What do? Some people said maybe we should move on to something else, like white men or Asian men or gay men. Wait, what? If you're struggling to be valued by straight men, maybe consider a lavender marriage. What's that? Show them, Jody.
A man and a lesbian get married. Lavender marriages, unions between individuals of different sexual orientations, have long been a way for LGBTQ+ people to navigate the pressures of a heteronormative society. These marriages allowed queer people to play straight, especially in eras less accepting of diverse sexualities, which were quite common amongst gay actors in Hollywood. Elsewhere, the concept of lavender marriage is evolving too. Some individuals are entering mixed orientation marriages not out of necessity, but as a conscious choice, prioritizing deep platonic connections over traditional romantic partnerships. Lavender marriages past and present show how LGBTQ+ people have balanced societal expectations with personal authenticity.
Sarah, what do you think about the idea of sisters being like, it's not really working out with the guys, the straight guys? Maybe I should have a loving relationship with a gay man who will treat me like a princess and not pressure me in the bedtime.
I feel like people are just doing whatever they want these days. They are just creating whatever they want to create, because that to me is not a marriage. I feel like the thing that makes marriage a marriage is God, right? The contract was created realistically in the United States. It got serious in 1929 to stop the black man from marrying a white woman. That's when a marriage certificate came into play. Why not just have a partnership agreement or some kind of business agreement in place? Because that's really a platonic friendship. Why not just be friends, have a business? Why get, I feel like that is a mockery of marriage, to be completely honest. I'm just gonna put that out there. And I also feel like some people are married, but they'll never experience what it is to be husband or wife. That's my opinion.
What do you think, Shai?
I mean, I think that people should do whatever brings them happiness. I see a lot of people who are married the right way and they're miserable as fuck. And I see a lot of people who are married in the way that's supposed to be, you know, either, and I believe in God, I'm saying under God, but no marriage certificate, and they're happy. I see a lot of people who are, so my thing is create what works for you. The part that concerns me a little bit, doesn't bother me because I want people happy, concerns me with the lavender piece is that it gives me more confused or identity crisis. And I'm not saying that they don't believe in love, because I am a person that believes that love is love. Because I believe love is love. I just think that, listen, I can hang out with Dimitri for months and just fall in love with him as a person, right? I can love Sarah as my friend. But my point is, when it comes to saying that a person is gay and I'm straight and we're going to fall in love and be together, it kind of goes against, if you're gay and you are a man, that means that by definition, we know this may be everyone's different, but by definition of gay and a man, you don't like me as a woman. If I am a heterosexual woman, I'm supposed to not like you as a man because you're gay, right? So how do we end up together in a way where we actually really want to be together, and we're not just being married for the sake of marriage, but we're being married for the sake of companionship and really wanting to be together?
Well, let's address that question. We got a video that will speak to what is the attraction to lavender marriages. Jody, let's see that.
A gay man will always give a girl princess treatment, unlike a straight man. So ladies, if you really want princess treatment, it's time for you to consider having a lavender wedding, because a queer man is always going to protect you more than a straight man would. That's just how it is. We hold women closer to our hearts because I believe that gay men, queer men, are more in touch with masculine and feminine energy on an equal level, which is why we understand both sexes' feelings and we respect people more. If you're a girl and you decide to date a gay man, you're never going to feel like you don't know where you stand with him. He's always going to be honest with you, and obviously you've laid out the boundaries before you've even chosen to get together. But I'm being dead serious when I say that women and gay men should start dating, because at the end of the day, we're just wasting our time here with other men who we try and date because they are not equipped with the tools.
Wait a minute, wait, we won't know where we stand with him, because as a straight woman marrying a gay man, do I have to also be concerned about other men and women? See, this is where it just becomes overload.
You guys are gonna work out those boundaries. The way that he, assuming that's his pronoun, explains that, was really beautiful and makes a lot of sense. You will get a lot of love, appreciation, and understanding from that person.
Push back.
Why are you saying that, D?
I can't let him have it. I cannot let him have it. There's very, very masculine men, very men who know how to be man, who relate emotionally, mentally, all of that to a woman. And you cannot say we hold them closer to our. No, it's not true. You may share similar activities. Y'all may go do the same shit. Y'all have fun doing it. That don't mean you hold them closer to your heart. That's bullshit. The thing about it is, I feel like, honestly, women are moving towards it because they're not getting the loyalty and they're not getting it in traditional relationships.
Like what he's talking about as far as being able to value womanness and femininity, he clearly values those things way more than we do. And so he's going to treasure her in a way that a lot of straight men can't do or won't do. The sisters are saying, the brothers don't like us. The segment, it was like, do we hate them? The gay men are like, not only do we like you, we want to be like you.
But
Like Sarah,
again, this is an attack. Fuck it. This is an attack again on our straight black men.
Thank you.
I don't care.
Thank
Hold
you.
on, let me tell you why. Because he's saying, as a gay man, regardless of his race or creed, okay, I can love you better than a man. Then you got a black woman who posts this, who's saying, listen, I'm going to go ahead and confirm that gay men can love me better than obviously the men, black men that she's dating. This is what happens when they're trying to push an agenda. Love who you want. Be gay, LGBTQ.
Sister posted this. Nobody's pushing an agenda. There is a group of men who value you and want to share makeup.
You know what? You're right. You're right. You
guys could have a loving conversation that actually nourishes you.
You're right, because you know what? All of my life, I've loved my gay boys. I don't care. Let me tell you, I have gay friends I grew up with who were boys in high school, and now Chris is vanity.
Okay.
She is vanity now. And what I'm saying is, you're right. My gay boys love the shit out of me. They pump me up, they gas me up. But guess what? That is a friendship within our relationship.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to become married or be in a relationship where we're romantic just because they do that. And let me say this, it doesn't have to be an attack against, men in general, but especially black men like Dimitri, who's like, wait a minute, I also hold a woman close to my heart. I don't have to be not respect or love women because I'm not a gay man.
Nobody is saying Dimitri can't get, his slice of the pie. Sarah's over here talking to 4 men at a time. Some of the men are going to have to say, hey, I can actually love you to where you won't want to talk to 4 straight men because I understand you, girl. If I never ask you,
say one thing.
Hold on. The gay man is going to be in her world of womanness in a way that a straight man can't and won't. And I could see how he could love her in every way but physical. That would just
love is not gay or straight. Love is not gay or straight. Love is love. Why do we keep
when you actually see a man who loves a woman, there is nothing he will not learn. I mean this wholeheartedly. I was taking hair down in a relationship.
But you said love.
Whatever the case is, there's no way I'm not willing to relate to my woman. What she needs, I will do. It is not about whether you gay or straight. Baby, you want to, my father, my parents have actively been married for over 30 years. One of my mother's favorite hobbies is she like going to see the male dancers at the
She found the guy for her.
Hey, listen,
what about this? Dad, find that guy.
My dad goes. He goes.
Your dad is wonderful. Your dad is wonderful. There's a lot of sisters who don't have somebody like your dad or somebody like Shy's dad. My dad was a fantastic. My parents were married for 40 some years until he died. Right? I mean, like fantastic marriage. Like Sarah, didn't fight in front of us. Right? Like amazing marriage. But not everybody has that. Sarah, if you don't have the opportunity to have somebody like your dad, her dad, my dad, his dad, why wouldn't you choose somebody who's gay who will love you in every other way?
That is not a marriage. That is a friendship. The one in order for a marriage to be valid, you have to consummate the marriage. You don't have a marriage.
Question. If a straight couple, hold on, if a straight couple stops sleeping with each other, and there's lots of straight couples that aren't sleeping with each other, is that still a marriage?
Marriage, yes, because it's already been consummated. What this is telling me is that women are tired. We are overwhelmed and we are overstimulated. And a lot of the good women, and y'all let me know if you can agree in the comments, a lot of the good women are at home in their houses, barely even going out anymore because of this kind of thing right here. What would make you think for 1 second that I'm going to marry a man that would never be physically attracted to me, that could never give me the reassurance and that womanness that I need, that never wants to touch on my body? There is no way on God's green earth that it makes any sense. Create a partnership agreement, okay? Do an escort together.
It does make sense.
For what it is,
one thing.
Make someone your beneficiary, Torre, but do not
Let's say, Sarah, one thing. This is happening, and this is working for some people. Like, it's not going to work for you. Don't want you for it. It's never going to work for Dr. B. Fine.
Nope.
But there are people like Star Jones who's like, works for me for a period of time. Like, if it's working for you,
we're just past that age where we have to front a relationship. If you want to be outside with 2 women and 2 men, do it. Be happy.
That's not what Star wants. That's not what somebody in a Lavender marriage wants.
John and Regina George. It started with Phyllis Gates and Rock Hudson, right? These are the things that it started with. And now that was because it was looked down upon for you to have a same-sex marriage. This is 2025. Men are saying they're women.
But
women
that's not the problem. These gay men are not saying they don't want to get married to men. They're saying, I have a great relationship, friendship with this woman. Go ahead, Dimitri.
I want to make this very clear. I'm not sitting here arguing who you married to. If a man want to marry a woman and you gay and they not, you do you.
Right.
But my problem is you're generalizing on the internet saying I can love you better than a straight man can. That is not true. And Torre, you hate generalizations. So please don't sit here and act like this is a valid one.
No. I'm talking about when you have a large group of people who do not choose whether or not they are in that group. That's different than that. I promise you, that gay man will make that woman feel more loved, seen, heard, and appreciated than we can. Because he's already saying, I love women. I'm here to
you can't promise that. That's so subjective. You don't know what that man can't do. You cannot say that man. Well, that is so subjective. And that's also still, you are joining the attack against men parade. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
No attack on men. No attack on men. Look, I mean, brothers have a lot of opportunities to marry sisters, and a lot of brothers are not taking those opportunities. So there's no attack on men. No attack on you. This is, I could do this for another hour. You guys want to go another hour?
with a new topic, because I'm not lavender, pink, and turquoise.
I feel you, Doc. But I do love the conversation, and I do love defeating all 3 of you guys in a debate. And it's just fun. It's fun. This conversation was really, really good. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys.
I want them to. The comments are on fire. Y'all hit the comments. I want to know who was in the lavender. Who was in the lavender? That's what I want to know. Seriously, who is in the lavender? I want to know about this. I want to hear about it. And listen, Doc Squad, drop that Doc Squad in there. Let them know you listening. Put that Doc Squad in there with your opinion against Torre, who was just on this fight against men parade, y'all. Get him.
No. If there's any gay women in the comment section, I'm open for marriage. If y'all want to just come on over here, I just want to put that out there.
As men have to do better in the way that we treat, listen to, respect, talk to, show up for our women.
I agree with
that. And a lot of our gay brothers are doing that work as friends, and some of them as husbands. And I understand that's controversial for you 3, but we know they are showing up as great friends for some of our wives and sisters.
They are.
And we could be better on that level.
Okay, really quick, Torre, we want anyone who's in the lavender relationship or in that lavender world, drop us your Instagram handles so that we can send you a DM. We want you on the show. We want to hear more about your lavender relationships and Because obviously, Doc, I'm ignorant to it. So let me know. I got questions.
All right, that's our show for tonight. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube at Truth Talks Live. Continue to watch simulcasting here on the Black Star Network, always after Roland Martin Unfiltered. Advertise with Truth Talks. Reach the 10 million people who watch this show, and small businesses and influencers partner with us by visiting truthtalkslive.com and become a VIP member of the Truth Lounge, where you can get into the Lost Lover Boy Lounge. Is it lost or found? I am confused.
We getting there. We getting there.
All right. As we talked about, Black media is under attack. Black men are under attack, but not from gay men. So keep supporting us by telling a friend to tell a friend to check us out every night, 8 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. PST. We are here. The conversation that you always wanted to have, where everybody fights and drinks and gets into a mess. It's going to be fantastic every night like this. Next week, Attorney Ariva Martin, Judge Lauren Lake. We will be back every night at 8 p.m. We love you guys.
5 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, y'all.
Peace.